Hey you guys, what's up? Thanks for clicking on the video and checking me out. It's Dysfunctionally Functional Life with Tam Collins. And I am about to go to work. I do DoorDash deliveries. And I thought I would take this opportunity to get some more content done. This channel means a lot to me. I'm going through a lot in my personal life right now, and so this is very grounding and therapeutic for me. When you are going through hardships in your life, no matter what it is, especially if it affects your self-esteem, if it affects your sense of self-worth, your self-respect, it's always good to have something of your own, okay? Always have something of your own, some project, some hobby, something you can focus on with meaning and purpose, okay? And it's very important for me to do this right now. We all need to feel meaningful in the world, like we are contributing something. And sometimes our lives can get so knocked off balance, and we can get thrown so far from our path that we don't have that sense of meaning anymore. We don't have that sense of purpose. We can get so far off track. So it's always important to have something for yourself in this life. No matter what type of relationship you're in, no matter what you're dealing with, always have something that is yours, your gift, your creation, your project, your contribution, something to focus on that gives you meaning and purpose. And so, anyway, I want to talk about, in this video, I want to talk about Britney Spears. Yep. It's really been getting to me. I know it's a big, big deal right now. And no, I'm not going to say that I'm just a head over heels Britney Spears fan. But over the years, I have checked into her life. I've studied on her a little bit. And as she got older, yes, I do like some of her music. And what is happening to her right now is, it's flabbergasting to me. It really hit home for me in a lot of different ways. And I just really can't believe it's happening to a person right here under everybody's nose in the United States of America. How could they let these people get by with this for so long? And I personally feel like, in my opinion, let me set that straight for the record. This is just my personal opinion, that money and power, sadly, can buy you just about anything you want in this world, no matter how wrong it is. And I think that's what's behind that. And I think it's sad. In looking at Britney over the years and looking deeper into her family dynamic, you know, I did not know about the alcoholic father until just recently. I did not know that her father battled with alcoholism, and that there were some darker dynamics in her family. I just saw Brit growing up over the years, you know, the Mickey Mouse Club, and I knew of her mom, Lynn, and I knew of Jamie Lynn. My little boys, who are now in their 20s, used to watch Zoe 101. I just kind of saw them as a pretty good family, is what I thought. You know, they've got the kids in showbiz, and I did not know about the darker dynamics of the family. I know that Lynn has written a book in which she discusses the father, Jamie, his alcoholism, and the problems that it caused the family. Britney has also spoken out some on the problems that her father's alcoholism has caused their family. Okay, whoa, stop the press. When I learned of her father's alcoholism, whoa, that stops everything. That tells me a lot right there. And in no way am I on any type of level near Britney Spears. I am not the talent she is. I'm not worth millions of dollars. I'm not, on that level. But I will say this. I know what it feels like to be the daughter of an alcoholic father. I know what it feels like to be controlled, to be smothered, to have everything you love taken away from you. On a much smaller level, I went through that in my childhood growing up under an alcoholic father who was extremely abusive. Now, I'm not saying Britney's father has been physically or sexually or otherwise abusive to her, but we are hearing more and more about the emotional and psychological abuse, clearly. There is clearly something going on with Britney's father. She is scared of him. She doesn't want him to be a part of her conservatorship anymore or be in charge of her. There's clearly something going on there, okay? And yes, that really hits home for me. And I speak out when it comes to things like this. So, my father, however, he was physically, sexually, violently, emotionally, psychologically, and every other way possible abusive to me. From my earliest memories on this earth up until about 15 years of age. He was an alcoholic. And that was deeply ingrained into my psyche as a young girl. All the things that went on and the alcoholism, okay? And I grew up struggling. He was very narcissistic. He used me, used children to meet his own needs. And I'll just say this. Where there is alcoholism involved, you can always stop everything right there and go, whoa. A person who battles with alcoholism is not going to be emotionally mature. Period. There are going to be issues that affect everyone they're around on a very deep level. It might not be physical beating. It might not be something the public or anyone else can even pick up on. It might not be sexual or molestation. But if there is an alcoholic parent, you can best believe the children are affected in very, very deep ways. And they will carry it all of their life. Growing up around an alcoholic parent is nothing to play with. I mean, and when I heard that and when I found that out, because of the way my father was and because of the issues I've struggled with all of my life because of my father, because of the dynamic with he and I, the type of men that I attracted into my life for many years, the type of things that I looked for in men, and still to this day am recovering from the aftermath of a relationship with an alcoholic, okay? Those issues I have been struggling with and fighting with in myself. What it causes a young girl growing up with an alcoholic father. And I know that a lot of the public, just the average person, does not have insight into this. They wouldn't. How would they? If they had not grown up with an alcoholic father, if they're not studying psychology and they're not really looking deeply into these types of things and they don't have that experience, how would they know? How would they have that insight into Britney? Okay? But I'm the type of person, when I see cases like this, I don't just sit up like the general public and start making a bunch of quick judgments and, oh, she's crazy. And I'm sorry, but you guys, there's always a lot more going on deeply within a person. And I just hate it. I hate it that people form these very surface and shallow opinions and start remarking on it, and they've never even walked through those shoes or anything similar to it. I mean, it's very hurtful, and I'm about educating and spreading awareness to the world. That's really genuinely what I'm about. And just maybe helping open people's perspectives a little bit. Maybe helping people become a little bit more aware, and maybe next time they see someone in a certain situation in life, maybe they will take a few minutes to look deeper Look beneath that surface. You don't always know what is going on. There's always more than meets the eye. Okay? And that tells me a lot right there. So with Lynn Spears and Britney Spears both asserting at different times that the father's alcoholism took their family into a dark place. Lynn Spears said in her book, I don't have the book, but I've listened to several different creators read from the book and quote from the book. Lynn, the mother, said, looking back, in reference to the father, Jamie's alcoholism, that she probably did not make the best decision for the children in staying with Jamie. That right there, man, when you've got the alcoholic dynamic in a family, it's got toxic written all over it. Everyone that surrounds that alcoholic, the mother, okay, not only do I know what it's like to grow up under a mother who is afraid of her husband, when you're involved with an alcoholic, you become, it's really hard to put it into words. You become afraid. You become very anxious. The alcoholic is a very narcissistic person, and everything turns into their way or no way. It turns into a caretaking, walking on eggshells. Everything has to revolve around what the alcoholic wants and says. So, more than likely, with Lynn Spears, the wife, you get involved with alcoholics. You know, I grew up in that type of family, and I gravitated towards alcoholic men. And in getting involved with alcoholic men, that's what you get into. You get into, even if you are a very strong woman who's very outspoken and you have very firm boundaries and a certain amount of self-respect, little by little, the alcoholic starts chipping away at you. And you become a different version of yourself. And I can see that in Lynn Spears. You become, oh my God, it's like the alcoholic puts a web around you, a trap around you. You can't speak up. You can't speak out against them. You become afraid of them. And they may never lay a hand on you. It's not that type of fear. But something happens when you are involved with an alcoholic person. And it's absolutely terrifying. You feel trapped. They coerce and manipulate. And they work everything just so you feel so guilty and so ashamed. You start carrying all of their emotions and their weight and their responsibility. And they will have you feeling so guilty if you ever speak up about it, if you ever speak out against them. And so I can kind of see that in Lynn Spears, the mother. And I can definitely see it in Britney. And it's just so sad to me because I have lived through all angles of that situation. And so what this is about for me really is just sort of, I'm one of those people. I like to look very deeply into things. I like to tear apart the details. And I'm going to start right there with the Britney Spears case. I will make other videos talking about this, but I'm going to start right there for now. Let's start back in Britney's childhood and her alcoholic father. Let's start right there, bottom line. If we want to really understand Britney and what she must be feeling, what she might have been processing and going through over the years, what led her to make some of the choices she made in life as far as men are concerned, yes, that's where we need to start, right there. What Britney was born into, with the father who was dealing with alcoholism, and the mother who clearly, in dealing with an alcoholic man, would have become codependent. Women become some whole other version of themselves when they are living with an alcoholic man. Now, I don't know if Mr. Spears was ever violent towards his family. We do not know what went on behind closed doors. I've never heard that. But again, I will say, having personal experience growing up under an alcoholic father, Mine was very violent, was very abusive on every level. And then growing up and living around alcoholic men in different relationships off and on through the years, I will tell you that the women around alcoholic men most of the time become afraid. It doesn't matter if those men are physically violent. They will have you afraid. You will be walking on eggshells all the time. You will be ashamed and guilty. You start carrying everything for them. And you go into some syndrome that you want to protect them, because a lot of alcoholic men are very vulnerable. They portray this vulnerability almost like little boys. And a lot of women end up being suckers for that because of our natural maternal instinct. And we think to ourselves, if you're a true friend, if you are a person of integrity, then if you have compassion for someone and you really care about them, then the first thing, you're not going to go immediately going, hey, this person is doing this behind closed doors. They get drunk. They act a fool. They treat me badly emotionally. They betray me. They a lot of people are not going to speak out on that at first. They're going to see all kinds of warning signs out of an alcoholic, but they are going to want to protect that alcoholic for a long time. I did. The alcoholic I lived with for years, the first thing, I did not want to go running and hurt this person. I felt like, my God, he has an illness and I need to help him get through it. I need to protect the situation. And I did for a long time, but no one will ever know what those people are enduring behind closed doors with an alcoholic. Nobody will ever know the emotional and psychological damage that living around an alcoholic will bring to you. Just depending on who they are and how they operate. It's just unbelievable. I'm coming out of the aftermath of such a situation now. And so, I just wanted to kind of touch on that. Everybody that's out there judging Britney, whatever their opinions are, we need to start there. Britney's alcoholic father. That will influence a young woman for the rest of her life, depending on, I don't know when she got into therapy. If she did not have therapy and a counselor and someone to go talk to outside of her family as a young woman and a young girl and young woman growing up, and she just started going to therapy back when she was put in the conservatorship, I don't know. Any therapy is better than no therapy, but, fortunately, I had a therapist as a younger girl. Thank God. But, I don't know if Britney had that. I really believe, after taking in a lot of different stuff about Britney over the years, and here recently especially, I really believe that up until she had the incident that got her put into the conservatorship, Britney was carrying so much emotionally, so much toxic, so much stress, so many things that may have even happened in her childhood, feelings about her father. I believe up until that point, she was carrying all of that. It's very likely that she was very overprotected. We all know that. It's very likely that she did not get to go see a counselor, that she did not get to reach out to a therapist. She probably wouldn't have done it on her own at that age. And I don't think her parents were taking her to anyone before she had the incident. And so when Britney acted out in 2007, it just kills me that the world thinks she's crazy. And these snakes, the toxic family dynamic, may have started out wanting to just merely protect their daughter from the snakes and the sharks and the boyfriends and the people trying to get in and take her money and use her up. And maybe they did start out just wanting to protect their daughter. But my God, 13 years? Okay, they saw this as an opportunity to not only protect Britney, but to keep her sick, confused, threatened. And they saw it as an opportunity to continue. They didn't want other people to get her money. They wanted it. The Spears family saw this as an opportunity. Well, hey, if somebody's going to get the money, we might as well get it for having to look out for her. But the way I see it is, Britney didn't do anything abnormal. For the amount of stress that that girl was under at the age of 26 after being a child star all those years, having an alcoholic father and very dark toxic dynamics in the family, number one, that would have already caused Britney a certain amount of pain growing up. That's right. Number one, even if your father does not leave the home, you are going to feel abandonment by an alcoholic father. When one of your parents is always drunk, you feel abandoned. You are always wanting the proper attention of that parent, and you can't get it because they're always drunk or they are always living in some effect of the alcohol. That goes without saying, okay? Now, I am aware of the fact her parents divorced later on, and that Britney was actually happy about it. I mean, that tells you right there that there is something that goes way back into Britney's childhood going on with her and the father. Okay. And I can speak from experience on what it's like to have an alcoholic father. And one day I will go into exactly what happened to me, the abuse, the control, the smothering. I felt like I was not allowed to even have an identity. I couldn't take a breath. I couldn't go to the bathroom without notifying him. He stalked me. He chased me. He was obsessed with me. I couldn't have a personality. There are a lot of alcoholic fathers that get that way. And I'm beginning to wonder if Britney Spears' father isn't the one who has psychological problems. Why didn't anyone stop everything and look at that? How was this allowed that her father has alcohol issues dating back to God knows when that caused their family all kinds of dysfunction? How did Jamie Spears, the father, get appointed in control of Britney? In control of all of her finances, and he's the head conservator. How in the hell did this happen? Why? When someone has an alcohol problem and that is known, they should not be put in charge of anybody. Absolutely not. So it's Mr. Spears that should be having the psychological evaluation. That's what I'm thinking. Okay? And when Britney had her freak out in 2007, let me tell you something. She didn't do half of what I would have done under the amount of stress that she was under at that time. Are you kidding me? And think about it. I know what it's like to be a woman, a young woman, involved with the wrong types of men who are only trying to use me and take advantage of me, out cheating on me. She was a brand new mother. I'm not saying Brit's perfect. No, we've all done our share of making mistakes. But I would imagine her relationship faults and her mistakes would stem from her roots with the alcoholic father, her codependency that I can see in her, and certain other issues that she has with men and relationships. Okay, I will get into that in a second part. I do see that Britney has, on her energy and in her relationship situations, I do see that she is a codependent person. And I fully believe that these issues stem back from her childhood with an alcoholic father. Absolutely. She should have been in therapy for that long ago. And she should have gotten that outlet before she had to flip out in public. But I don't see what she did, getting angry at the paparazzi that day and taking an umbrella to them. Are you kidding me? I would have done far worse than that. That girl was not crazy. She was breaking under the stress. And I know a lot of people go, oh, poor her. Millions and millions of dollars and she's so stressed. Hey, money's not everything. Yeah, money helps. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, especially the position I'm in right now. I'm literally struggling day to day, rebuilding my life after a toxic relationship. Money would make my life a lot better right now, a lot less stressful. But you guys, mental and emotional health is just as important. And we can't just look at somebody because they happen to have talent and they worked hard and they earn millions of dollars, we can't just look at a person like her and go, oh, well, her feelings don't matter since she's a millionaire. She doesn't have real thoughts and feelings. No, we can't do that. And a lot of people did that to her, man. And the press provoked her. There's so much to this case. And I'm going to make a couple more videos about it, breaking everything down into finer detail. But I don't believe Britney is crazy. I really don't. I don't believe she has some major psychological disorder. I believe the girl got stressed out. And let me tell you something, just from a woman's personal experience. When you are in love with a man or you get involved in a relationship with a man and he does you wrong, he betrays you, he makes you feel like you are nothing, which is what Kevin Federline was doing to Britney. You know, they got involved in the situation, they're having children, and I feel like both of them were young, and especially a young man. I mean, I'm just going to say it. You can Google it for yourself and do the research. Men mature more slowly than women do. These young men are wild. And when you get involved with certain types of men, they will have you feeling less than, like you are nothing. I'm not putting that on all men, but if you get involved with the wrong types of men, they will have you feeling like that. And when a young girl or woman, any woman, feels like that on the inside, you can best bet it's going to affect her mental and emotional state. She's going to have a lot of anger, a lot of rage. She's going to feel misunderstood and betrayed. Britney has been surrounded by narcissists all of her life. Her own damn parents, for one, then the men that she attracted. And you know, when you grow up in an alcoholic family with those dynamics going on, you develop toxic codependency. You develop narcissistic tendencies yourself. You get started on the wrong path emotionally and mentally. I wish Britney had had counsel. I wish that she had had someone step into that toxic dynamic and guide her. And so she did attract to the wrong types of men. And she herself made mistakes, like in the situation with Justin Timberlake, just as I did as a young girl. Growing up in the environment I was growing up in, I really didn't know any better until I took it upon myself to mentally and emotionally work on those wounds and work on myself after growing up under an abusive alcoholic. I too cheated on people. I treated people wrongly in my younger years. So, you know, I see all of these things in Britney. The girl made some mistakes, but I can say this. After taking in her energy all throughout the years, studying into her family more deeply, and just really taking in all of this stuff, I do see Britney and feel her energy. She is a genuine person. I do believe Britney is genuine and sweet and compassionate, and all that girl wants is to be loved and to live a normal life. She is very sad. I don't feel like she wants to hurt, dominate, take advantage of anyone. I don't feel like she's like the other diva types out there. I don't really see Britney as being narcissistic. I think she is a sweet and genuine girl from a small town. And I feel like she has been sheltered from a lot of what can go on in Hollywood. You know, and I feel like part of her family genuinely wanted to shelter her from being eaten alive by Hollywood and the media and what can go on. But I also feel like her family's very toxic and they took full fucking advantage of it. And they have kept that girl sick for 13 years, thinking she's sick. And I personally feel like a lot of people are in on it. And I think this woman needs to be free. They have taken years of her life keeping her scared and threatened that she can't get back. I heard her voice in court. That girl is scared to death. She couldn't get it out fast enough. Nobody has been listening to her. I can't even imagine being in the mental trap that she has been in and the physical trap for all these years. And so I really feel for Britney right now and others like her. I have a lot more to elaborate on from my own personal past experience with things like this. Control, alcoholic father, and different dynamics, relationship dynamics, codependency. And I will be back in a second part to elaborate more on this. But we need to keep speaking up, spreading awareness, speaking out on our personal experiences, and keep people like Britney in our minds, in our hearts. And let's hope that this judge does the right thing and gets this alcoholic father off of this conservatorship. He needs to be held accountable for what he's done, and he needs a psychological evaluation. And let's hope to God they give Britney some peace in her life. She's earned it. Thanks, you guys.